be seated, but I would like to introduce Rabbi Elana. Welcome her to our congregation and to our community, although she's been here for a little while. And look forward to what she has to say. So if you need this, you can move it. Sort of. I'll let you do it.
You'll tell me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shula. Shabbat shalom. Thank you for that introduction, and thank you for welcoming me. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. More mic? Got it. Is this better? Even more? Okay. How's that? Great. Let me know if it's not true as I progress. It's a true pleasure to be here with all of you. While I know I'm just down the street most of the time on Duke's campus or at the Friedman Center for Jewish Life, I realize that I haven't met everybody here yet, which is unfortunate, so I look forward to meeting with you and interacting with you over Kiddush or other times on campus. I like to joke that just like Duke students, it's taking me a couple of years to get off of campus and into Durham. So here I am coming onto the other part of campus. When I was younger, I attended Camp Ramah in New York, the camp of the conservative movement. Ramah, as I believe it still is, was lots of fun and filled with lots of Judaism. Summer at camp also meant observing Tisha B'Av, the holiday commemorating the destruction of the temple twice, amongst other calamities in Jewish history. It's a day of mourning. You fast, you pray, you act very sad. It was not fun as a young person at camp because camp is usually fun. I remember growing up and loving the beginning of Tisha B'Av. The whole camp would dress in white. We would gather outside on the outdoor basketball courts. Each bunk sat together in a circle with an aluminum tin filled with sand and candles in the middle of it. This was a must. And Eicha, the Book of Lamentations, was chanted by campers and staff verse by verse. The Eicha trope to me, as we just heard partially in the Haftarah, which is no small feat, going back and forth, is one of the most beautiful and haunting melodies that we have in our tradition. Eicha yashva badad, ha'ir rabati am, haita ke'almana. I love that melody so much. My friends and I would often speak in Eicha. Hey Jamie, do you mind passing me the salt and pepper? To this day, I have a hard time not being at camp during Tisha B'Av. There was a ritual that was truly embraced, filled with light in the midst of the darkness. I would be remiss to tell you, not tell you, that I also hated Tisha B'Av. The next day was a total drag. It was filled with lots of sitting around, lots of learning, lots of fasting if you were old enough. If you were a counselor, it was fasting and watching lots of young people eat around you. There was no swimming, no sports, no arts. One summer, we built a mock Beit HaMikdash, a holy temple replica out of cardboard. Then, half of us destroyed it, knocked it down. The other half had to watch in despair. Then we spent an hour, probably more, talking about how it felt. It was truly bizarre and not that meaningful to me. I've always been struck by this dichotomy. After Eicha in the evening and being so moved by our sacred text and ritual, and feeling so connected to Judaism and my people, the following day was sad and mopey. We would walk around camp sort of wondering how to be sad looking. I now view it as a missed opportunity. This week, as we just read, we started Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, the last book of the Torah. This book is known as the great speech of Moshe before the Israelites cross over into the Promised Land. Moses knows that he will die and he will not join his people. He gives his last great teaching, a reminder of the great covenant between Israel and God. We have alternate names for Devarim. Two of them are the book of the covenant, or Torat Moshe, the teaching of Moses. This book, this talk from Moses, is not the gentle final talk that you would expect. It's not filled with fond memories and lessons learned. It's not a sweet poem filled with kind epithets. Rather, it is a full-on rebuke of Bnei Yisrael. The rabbis from the Sifre, the book of legal midrash on Devarim, point out that from the very first line of Devarim, this is going to be harsh. Ele hadvarim asher diber Moshe el kol Yisrael. These are the words that Moses said to all of Israel. The word diber here indicates that the message is going to be a rebuke. They contrasted this with the word amar, also means saying, but when amar is used in the Torah, it often comes with praise, not like diber, which comes with rebuke. Moses uses diber in the very first line of Devarim. This is a buckle up, Bnei Yisrael. It's about to get rebukey. Also, the Sifra points out that Moses took his lead from Jacob. On Jacob's deathbed, he also admonished his sons right before his death. And finally, the Sifra, the rabbis claim that rebuking before death, one brings about peace. How is it possible that peace can come from critique? Perhaps this is part of what Moses is offering us in his legacy. When something is wrong, especially within your community, you are obligated to correct it. But it must be done appropriately. Most of us don't have the divine appointing us or guiding us, or the experience of leading and freeing a people from slavery as Moses did. So us regular folks do rebuke as best we can when it is necessary. The mitzvah of tochacha, of rebuke, is specifically laid out in the Talmud. Here is the how-to from the rabbis for us to do rebuke. Timing, tone, and intention. First, we must be careful with our timing. When rebuking others, it should be done during a time that it can be received, or else it will be lost on the rebukee. It must be done in private in order to avoid embarrassment of any kind. Second, we must be careful with our tone. When rebuking, we should avoid being angry and judgmental. It should be done with humility and empathy. And third, we must be intentional. Rebuking is not an unloading or venting. It is a conscious effort to heal a breach in a relationship or to help others awaken to their spiritual and moral deficits. We have to assume the goodness in others and rebuke with loving concern and respect. In Devarim, Moses is frequently commanding that the temple, the Beit HaMikdash, is our unifier, our source of atonement, our connection to God, our heart in the midst of our community. In 2 days, we are reminded that this temple is gone, destroyed. We are scattered, we are less connected. And yes, we mourn on Tisha B'Av, but more importantly, I believe we long for rebuilding. We want a time of peace and righteousness, a time of unity and justice. This is what I think was missed from my summer camp's Tisha B'Av daytime observance. How does a community face tragedy and pain? How do we rebuild and move forward with real action? Let's not lick our wounds. As the rabbis noted in the Sifre, rebuke can lead to peace. Lately, I personally have been feeling numb from the current state of the world. Just this week, our transgender community was told they are a burden. And there is once again turmoil and bloodshed in Jerusalem's holiest sites. By following Moses' intention, our Parasha is commanding us to not sit back and lament. We must get up from mourning on Tuesday night and get to work. Shabbat Shalom.